I'm the founder and CEO of DocDigitizer, and you have there my email. If you want to drop a line after the meeting, feel free to do it. Or if you have any questions, you can reach me at any time. So for today, we have 1 hour. And I would like to cover a set of topics with you guys. The first two are related with the problem that we are addressing in terms of data interoperability. I will showcase a little bit the approaches that are available in the market and most probably that you are using right now, or at least that you know, alongside their current limitations. And then I will try to showcase our approach to this and how it is very different. And then the best of the best in this presentation will be the live demo. So I think Christina asked you guys to bring some invoices. So you can send them to elvino.monteiro@docdigitizer.com. So they will be used during the live demo. So it's just a matter of speeding up things. So if you send them to Alvino right now, he will be able to put on a folder and then do a demo. We will also showcase our UiPath connector, because it's something that I think it will be interesting for you to know. And then I will discuss a little bit how you can test this if you want. We have a free trial available, a sandbox available that you can use. I will try to also point you how to do it, okay? To kickstart about the problem. So I'm not sure if you, because I'm a computer engineer, so this is a little bit strange for me to understand, but 80% of the information that is exchanged worldwide between companies is human readable and not machine ready, which means that we are transferring a lot of information that we need to undertake our business processes, but this content, these documents, these emails are not really interoperable with our software, which means that companies are paying a productivity tax to process and handle all this unstructured data that they are receiving and they need to process to undertake their process. This is becoming more and more a problem because companies are opening new communication channels. Nowadays, a couple of years ago, you only had paper. Nowadays, you have a lot of different inbounds, emails, apps, chatbots, portals. And as you create more and more inbounds, the information is becoming more and more unstructured, more and more long tail for the engineers in the room, which means that it's more difficult to handle, more difficult to process. So this problem is in fact growing, although most of the information is already digital in the first place. So when we look at the current data capture solutions, you have there some of the names that are very trending right now: Abi, Kofax, document understanding of UiPath, Rossum. You see that most of their arguments are around accuracy. Okay, so we have here like a game where different vendors are competing to have the best in class AI, and they are projecting this message that if you reach a higher degree of accuracy, you'll be able to automate more your processes. This is not really the case. So accuracy is not a proxy for automation, and I will detail a little bit about this on the next slides. And most of the time, the solutions here are not enough to reach hyper automation because they strongly depend on configurations and setup. They they require you to have humans in the loop to ensure data validation. And also, they only provide support to semi-structured or structured data, invoices, things like that, okay? So the thing that you need to consider is that when you look at the total cost of ownership of these solutions, you see that only 50% is related with the OCR license. And the most part of the cost is on the data validation that you need to have in place to ensure that you don't streamline errors to the process. And I will stop here briefly because as a software engineer, we are connecting. We know that we are connecting everything through APIs, and the APIs itself offers a lot of layers of reliability, which means that I can transfer information. Sorry, I can transfer information in a very reliable way. But when I go to data capture solutions, when I'm transferring data from human readable to machine ready, uh, I need to have validation, okay? And this validation is the worst part of the process, not only in terms of costs, but in terms of efficiency and automation. So you start this kind of projects trying to automate the process, yeah, you end up having 55% of your cost on having humans in the loop, making sure that the data is correct, okay? So when you look at the vendors that I show in the previous slide, you see that they only target the setup part, more or less, and the OCR license. And they shift all the burden of data validation to the customer, okay? And this is why we say that accuracy is not really a proxy for automation. And you see, of course, there might be use cases where you are very comfortable working with 90% accuracy, 95% accuracy. But most of the business critical process, you need to have an assurance about the data that you are streamlined into the process. Because at the end of the day, you might have a robot making decisions, and as you see here, nobody wants to transfer the wrong amount 5% of the times, or pay a claim where there is an error 5% of the time. And when we talk about accuracy, there's also a pitfall here. Because typically when I say that a data capture solution has 95% accuracy, I tend to think that I may automate the process 95%, which is wrong, because most of these processes don't have the expected values that available that you can compare to the data capture results to check the errors. So you will not be able to really segment the things that are wrong from the things that are correct, which leads to a huge problem. Having 70% accuracy or 95% accuracy will not change the amount of effort that you need to put in place to make sure that you validate everything. And this is quite a good example of that. I'm showing you 100 invoices here, and I'm saying that on 5 of them, there is an error. But then how can I find which one has the error? Okay, so this is what happens typically over and over again when you create a data capture pipeline, and when you tend to invest everything in accuracy and not looking at the whole picture. Of course, this also involves over time. Okay, so AI-based solutions will get knowledge over time. The templates OCRs will, of course, decrease over time because as new layouts appear, they will not be able to adapt. But at the end of the day, you will only reach full automation if you have 100% accuracy, and none of these solutions are able to deploy this, and at the same time they are not able to deliver you the wrong information apart from the right information, which leads to the problem that I mentioned before. So this leads to DocDigitizer. and to our approach to this problem. We are a no-code human augmented data capture platform that ensures several things that are very important relating to the things that I mentioned before. We ensure 100% accurate data. We ensure that the customer don't have any setup involved, any training, any template development. So this is a plug and play solution with a full pay-per-use model, which means that we don't charge any entry cost for the customer, so they can start using it right away without any investment. Okay, and this is very different from what you typically have on data capture solutions, where you need to have a lot of training before starting the process. We position ourselves in the intelligent document processing space, and we are harnessing the power of AI, working in harmony with the human in the loop. So, and I will detail a little bit about this later. So we combine the two to provide the hyper automation over any type of human readable content. And this means that we can process emails, we can process photos, we can process scanned documents, PDFs, native PDFs. So we are in fact enabling other solutions to process and handle unstructured data. And by doing that, we are able to deliver automation in previously inaccessible process where traditional data capture solutions couldn't handle this. So when we go back to this slide in terms of evolution, you see here that we position ourselves as a hyper automation tool that enable you to start using up and running in under 2 hours, even for large enterprise projects. No code, no setup, and most important, no need for any extra validation on the customer's end. Okay, so the human in the loop is there, but is managed within, is blended within our platform, which means that on the customer end, they are interacting with this via API, via robots, and they will not need any validation effort from their end, which means that we provide 60 to 80% return on investment when compared to other solutions. By having this approach, we are able also to deliver 100% accuracy from document one. And this will not depend on the variations, on the type of document, on the type of content, on the layout. Okay, so we don't have any training, we don't have any investment in setting up. This is always straight. Okay, this line here, and also of course by delivering already validated data, we are enabling our customers to skip all the manual processing on their end. We are democratizing these tools, so meaning that this is available for smaller customers and large customers. We don't have any limitation because the customer doesn't need to invest anything up front. And we are working very much in these 4 different pillars that you see here, a lot with robot process automation, a lot with low-code technologies, Mendix, OutSystems, also, of course, streamlining data to document management systems, RP, CRMs, and also working alongside with different branches of large consultancy companies. We work with Capgemini Portugal, we work with Deloitte, we work with Accenture as a automation enabler on their digital transformation portfolio. We currently work mostly with banks and insurance companies. The banks itself, they have huge problems in terms of onboarding of customers with the QIC process, with the loans, where they need to have really accurate data to make the decision if the client is able or not to get the loan or to be on board on the bank. I'm talking about tax returns, ID cards, passports, pay slips, address proofs. So a lot of different documents that are nowadays sent to the bank via their chatbot, via their mobile app, and they need to validate them and make sure that the information is correct. So they cannot use like a prediction model. They need to be sure, okay? The same thing applies to insurance companies where you have the claims process. And of course, we are also covering other use cases such as accounts payable. You will see on the demo, logistics, documents, and many others. So we are completely agnostic in terms of the use case itself. So we are able to do this over any type of document, email, or human readable content. These are some of our customers, but most of all, you can have access to a set of in our website. You have access to a set of success cases. These two are are very interesting because in the first one in Dansk, that is a insurance company in Denmark, they were having troubles in processing reimbursement of medical expenses. Typically it took 72 hours to do the reimbursement process, and now they can do it even before the person leaves the medical office. So we are very close to real time, which means that they are able to really push this message forward as a differentiation when choosing your health insurance. And Montepio, that is a Portuguese consumer credit bank, and consumer credit is very time sensitive. They want to get the credit approved during the time you are in the store, so it's an impulse buying. And we were able to fully automate their decision-making process, so they don't have any single human on the bank side to approve the loans, and they are doing it under 5 minutes, I think. So going a little bit deeper on this, we are an API as a service. So you have an endpoint to submit your content, and you have an endpoint to receive a JSON file with the information already validated, and with a data schema that is always standard and doesn't depend on the layout of the document. I will not get in too much detail on this because you will see on the demo this happening. So going back to this notion that the human in the loop is important, and I really like this F1 car because, as you probably know, F1 cars have a lot of technology nowadays, but still they by itself the car cannot win any race. Though the pilot is a crucial part. So when we talk about hyper automation, it's like the second wave of automation. The first wave, we thought that the human would disappear, and nowadays we are seeing the role of a new role of a human within the automation process. But when we think about humans, we tend to think of them as a cost, as a lag, and things such as scalability, efficiency, load balancing are all concepts that we are used to use on our cloud provider, but we not associate that with humans. We thought that if we need a human in the loop, it is much more efficient to have the human in the loop supervised by AI. This means that we are using humans as processing power. As you have, I don't know, VMs on Azure or CPUs on demand in Google Cloud, okay? So for us, we built a way to have humans in the loop, but very, very, very efficient. And we understood that there were a lot of features that were impacting the performance and scalability and elasticity of humans, things such as their expertise level, the service level agreements that we have or with our customers, the privacy, because some of the documents that we process have sensitive data, which means that they cannot be routed to the wrong people. All the things that the machine learning knows when is looking at the document, if it is something that he saw before or not. So all these, I'm talking about hundreds of features that will impact the optimization of humans. And the only way to do this in a very efficient way, as we have in cloud service, is to have an AI brain orchestrating the work of humans. So although we tend to see humans as supervisors of machines, we are doing the other way around. We are putting machines supervising humans and supervising extraction machines. And this AI brain is managing their work and coordinating everything, making load balancing, giving the right job at the right time to the right person. Okay. To do that and to achieve that, we couldn't follow the approach that you see on this video. That is the typical approach of an OCR, where you have the document and then a set of fields. And then this is what is typically called a revision station. And then you have a team of humans looking at the right, looking at the left, and trying to correct the system. This is the standard. So nobody thought that this could be improved. And going back to one of my first slides, this is where 55% of the cost is. So the interface of an OCR is still the same as it was 10 years ago. Nothing changed really. And this is a very inefficient way to manage this process when you think about scale. This, of course, works for 10 documents an hour or 20 documents an hour, but this cannot scale, and we need to scale. So what we did was basically to build a platform with a set of twists that I will detail later, but where our decision task is binary and is on the level of a specific concept that we are validating. So what you are seeing here on this video is the validation pipeline of a human for a specific field that is related with the bank account. Okay, so what you see here is that the human is replying yes or no questions, and yes or no questions are the ones that for us as a human are much more easy to reply. And we are aggregating the same tasks and providing, and the AI is assigning these tasks to the best reviewer. And these responses are on average 100 times more efficient than compared to the approach on the left. Okay, which means that we suddenly gain a lot of efficient on the process, to the point where we can send the same question to multiple people, and with that we will have a voting system that will be ensure us the quality is there, and also that will ensure that we cross-check the performance of the humans, so the AI can know if the human is the correct one for that particular field in that particular document. On top of that, our reviewers are using gamepads as a way to reply to these questions. And the gamepad itself may seem a little bit strange, but is in fact the best suitable interface for rapid decisions. Okay, as you know, most of the games are played using gamepad. So this is a completely different way of doing the validation task. And just to clarify, all of this is done by our humans, not by the customer humans, which means that at the end of the day, independent of the process, our customers will only receive 100% accurate data. So going a little bit deeper on this, because I know that you guys like these details, I would like to share some foundations on how we got here. Okay, so the video itself is self-explanatory, but to do this in this completely different approach, we were forced to rethink the problem itself. Okay, so we have essentially three steps that I want to cover, or at least three concepts that I want to cover. The first one is the content pre-processing. So as you probably know, all these four documents are in fact the same template, but since they are scanned by the customer, and this is something that happens a lot in when you go to digital inbounds, it's very difficult for the system to understand that this template is more or less the same. So we need to apply a set of tools that allow us to really remove the noise and have the DNA of that document. Okay, and this DNA will be very, very important. So for our for DocDigitizer internally, all these four documents will share a lot of similarities, although they may be scanned and photographed in a completely different lighting conditions, perspective, and so on and so forth. The second biggest disruptive concept is that we are not extracting data based on document type. So when you look at an invoice, for example, or an OCR, you tend to see invoice, and then on the invoice you have a data schema, and you have, let's say, the address of an invoice. But that is not the way a human brain works. For a human, an address is a concept that we exchange daily in the context of an invoice, but also in the context of a letter, of a business card, of a signature on the email footer. So the concept of an address, the concept of a VAT number, the concept of emission date are concepts that are not properties of the document type. But if you model them as you do on the data capture solution as a part of an invoice, you will lose a lot of semantic properties. Okay, so instead of looking at these concepts as part of the document type, we process them as humans using a taxonomy that is not related with the document type. So going back to the video that you saw before, the yes no questions, this is the reason why if I train a human to read addresses, they don't need even to know if they are looking at an invoice or a bank statement, because the only thing that they need to know is how to understand addresses. Okay, which means that suddenly I may have people looking at addresses. At the same time, I may have people looking at the emission dates. And I don't need to train them how to read an entire invoice. Neither I need to provide business related training, because most of these semantic concepts are not dependent on language and are not dependent on specific business logic. And I know, yes, that there might be fields such as the purchase order that might be specific to an invoice, but then also in my crowdsource, I will have people there that are specialized on those fields. Then also another thing that is very important to mention is that we develop this to support long tail, okay? And long tail means that we are processing inbounds that vary a lot, okay? And this is something that you cannot do using hard-coded configuration. So if I want to build like a parser for a specific invoice, then I need to do that work X amount of invoices or X amount of bank statements. So let me just show you here. I think the next slide will show that. So what we are building is a way for that is very similar to the human genome. That is a way for us to take advantage of knowledge that we already have and apply it to situations or to content that we never saw before. This is something that we as a human do very quickly. That is why if I show you a Portuguese invoice and ask you what is this the invoice number, even if you don't know how to speak Portuguese, you'll completely get it because you are able to transfer your knowledge from Nordic invoices to Portuguese ones. So what we built here was a tree of concepts, a tree of signatures, and I can give you a quite good example of this. Let's say that we know how to understand French ID cards, and then we receive an ID card from Norway. They most likely share a lot of similarities, so they will be very similar. And if you compare your ID card to an invoice, it will be very different. Okay, so they are a different species. So if I apply the semantic knowledge, the semantic extractors that I have for the French ID card, it might be well the case that in 10 fields, I'll be able to extract correctly, I don't know, 5. The 5 that are wrong will be reviewed by our human pool, and this will be inputted into our knowledge base, which will lead to the appearance of a new species. That is the ID cards from Norway. Okay, so this is just for you to understand that by combining humans with this very object-driven approach to the problem, we are not we are shifting away from hard-coded templatizations or parsers or stuff like that that you probably know in other technologies, because we are trying to be as close as possible to the cognitive process that the human have to solve exactly this problem. And that is precisely the reason why most of the companies still have humans, because the humans are very good at doing this. So and the way we do it is not even close to what typically you have on data capture solutions. Okay, now the lecture about conceptual things is over, because I know that probably you are tired of hearing me. So I would like to showcase how can you use this within UiPath. We have a pre-built connector that you can load into your process, into your project, and this connector will make available. Let me just shift here. We'll make available these 3 models, in this case, objects here, and I will stop here. So the first one is to submit documents. The second one is to get document information, so to get back the data. And the third one is get document rejection. I will talk a little bit about this at the end. So as you see here, you just drag and drop the submit document. You create here your API key, and then it's just a matter of sending the document, the path for the document. Okay, this is an asynchronous process, which means that you need to also consider that you need to have a delay on this, and the same applies to the get information of a document. So I'm skipping a lot of parts of the video just for the sake of time, but you'll be able to see this after if you want. This is available on YouTube. So what this means is that if the condition is met, if the document is processed, you'll get the data of the document. And I will put the robot running. Okay. And you will receive the data as you see here in a JSON file. Okay, so essentially what I'm showing you is that with an API key, you'll be able to process within the context of UiPath any type of document without any setup, without any configuration, any parsing, just submitting the document and getting back a JSON file with the information of that document. Of course, to generate the API key, we need to have the data schema itself, but it's just a data schema. And then after that, you'll be able to share or to send any type of invoice. And this is precisely what we will do now. So in the demo, okay, perfect. So what you will see here is a Postman package that we can share with you guys with your API key. In this package, you will have essentially two main endpoints. The submit endpoint that we will use right now to submit the documents. So Elvin, please do it. We will submit them all, and then we will see the results. Okay, perfect. So what you get, and Elvin, please, you can go on. I will explain on top.
Okay,
So
no problem.
once you submit a document, you will get an ID, okay? That is the processing task. So this is asynchronous because we have the machine and the humans. So what Elvin is doing is basically to save all the IDs so we can then query the results. The response that you get is that the document was accepted. Elvin, let's just wait a little bit. Uh, the status that the task was accepted, and that the status is pending, which means that it's on processing. Okay, so this is another one. Okay. Also, can you show the others just for them to see the others? No. The
Sorry,
other.
the others of the.
So the others is like an API key that is yours. Okay. We also have, but I can mention this later. We also have another endpoint that is able to parse this into page by page extraction. So let's say that you have a document which has more documents within the same PDF. It's also possible to process them. Okay. Any doubt regarding this until now? Perfect. This is pretty much simple. This is exactly the API that is the way our UiPath connector works behind the scenes. So you can either use our connector or directly the API. Okay.
João, may I continue submitting?
Yeah. Please do. Let's submit them all and then
Mhm.
go through the results one by one. You may ask how much time does it take to process each document? It will depend on the service level agreements that we have in place with each customer. So, for example, when we are talking about consumer credit, this is a very time sensitive process, which means that our customers want the results under 5 minutes. Okay. When we are talking about the invoices, for example, most of our customers they are more than willing to wait 2 hours, 3 hours, even 8 hours. So as we close to real time, it also impacts the price. But what this means in practice is that the response time will be set by you guys according to your own use case. Okay, we cannot be lower than 3 minutes. That is the best case scenario because of the human in the loop. But having said this, it can be 3 minutes or 8 hours. It will really depend. Okay, so did we submit them all?
Yep.
Elvin?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So this is pretty much what you need to do to submit documents. And now we will check the results, okay?
Okay. I don't know if you want to go through the structure. This was a preset document.
Oh, yes, yes, we can go that. Oh, okay, so that is precisely what Thomas asked, was that what kind of data schema are we returning? So in this free trial, we are returning headers of invoices. But you see there that there are a lot of different fields that are null, okay? Which means that although they are not being returned on the free trial, you can use them on the paid version. Okay, so we can go to the headers or even do through the line items. Okay, so quantities, descriptions, unit pricing, and also you see there that there is a contract number, client address, purchase order. So all this might be filled on your license once is set. Okay. So I would say that let's start with the first one. I'm not sure if it is processed or not, but
We will see.
We will see.
Let me get the detail.
It typically on our free trial, it typically takes a couple of minutes. So we don't have that. We don't have that. It's still reviewed false. So this flag here is what enables you to, and you saw this on UiPath connector. This is what ensures you that the document is ready. So the data schema is ready. So it's still pending. Let me just check here if it is processed. Okay,
so this, the response there, it's not done yet, but we're still going to see some information, right?
And most of the information is null. Okay, so what is happening behind the scenes is that the data capture process is not one pass. Okay, so we have human touch points mixed with machine touch points, which means that for us, and since we are working at a field level, there's no machine and then humans as you have on the data capture. So these fields will be reviewed and some of the response will be used as knowledge to extract the next one. Okay, so that is why some of the fields may have values and some others might not. But the only way to check is through the revision part. Okay, let me just check. I'm not sure. Can you retry again?
Yes, I can. I need to go through the task. No, it's not yet.
Can you try another one? Just
yeah, I can, just to be sure. Do the second one. Okay.
That is also.
This is the same. Yeah. Just so a technical point on here, this response that you see here, this is in reality the response from the get details of the document. What happens is when you get the details of the task and the task is already processed, you get a redirect to go to this endpoint.
Yeah, perfect. Open the first one. I think is already processed, and open side by side with the document so we can confirm the results, please.
Just to be sure. Okay, now it's looking good. And the review is true.
Okay, perfect. Can you put it side by side with the Okay.
Let me just put it here and put the postman here.
Okay, so let's check. So as I mentioned, some of the fields are null because they are not part of the other configuration. So you see there the invoice number, the date, the amount, the total amount, the invoice number. Okay, the tax breakdown that
Should
you
be
have
here somewhere.
there. And you
The
have
VAT
there
amount and
the VAT amount. Exactly, the VAT amount is the tax amount. And then you have the client name. Where is it on
it's
the
here.
invoice?
It should be here.
Should be there. Okay. So any doubts regarding this? I'm not sure if silence is a good thing or a bad thing. If you are surprised or if you are
Scanning the
somehow.
document.
Sorry.
We're scanning and looking for errors so that
Okay.
we can say,
Okay.
"Ha, there we go."
Okay. So
I am very surprised about the tax
should we
tax
go
fields.
to the next one?
Well, yeah. What is the tax base
Yes,
amount?
how is it doing the tax rates?
Yeah.
It calculates.
Ah,
Okay. And the reason why is because there are relationship between the concepts which are strong enough for them to for the machine to understand that there's a relationship between the tax amount and the tax base amount. Okay, so the tax rate is a consequence of that. Okay, let's Elvin, let's go through another one just for.
Just figure. Go to the second one. That should be already done. Yep, it is.
So can you show again
Yep,
the?
I can. There it is, and this will take some more time because it's an image.
Okay.
So,
Guys, you chose the trickiest one.
yeah.
Okay, so okay, you have the base amount, 2000. You have the currency, you have the client name. So some of the fields that you saw before might not be might not be here because they might not be written on the invoice. Okay, and then you have the vendor name, and that's it, right?
Yeah, it's it.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So let's open another one. Please stop me. I'm rushing up because I know that we are close to the end. But feel free to stop me.
It's reviewed.
Okay. Perfect.
Let me just confirm that this is the right document. Okay. Where is it? It's here.
Okay. So putting it side by side.
Okay, there it is.
Perfect.
And going again.
Tax number, currency, invoice number, vendor name, the tax
Vendor tax
breakdown,
ID.
vendor tax ID, the tax breakdown, and also the client name. Okay. The emission date also there, the base amounts. Okay.
That's it for this one.
Hold on. Can
Please.
you just
Yeah.
scroll down on this invoice?
Yeah, I can.
Um,
There's nothing more done.
Yeah. Cool.
So in this case, for example, the tax was written on the second page. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's go to the last two.
Yep. Your thought was clear? Just to be sure.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
One thing that is important to mention is that all this interaction that you are seeing here with invoices might be done over any type of document. Okay. This is not specifically to invoices. Okay. We ask for invoices because the
That's how we
invoices
set up
are
the free
very
trial.
easy to get document and because of the privacy thing. So, but we could be doing this with contracts or pay slips or any type of other documents.
ID cards and things
ID
like
cards,
that.
passports, bank statements.
Just check
So
if this is the correct one. Yeah.
it is. It is.
Yeah, it is.
I think so. Okay.
So we have the same fields. The vendor name.
The vendor name probably is on the footer.
Yeah, it's here. The emission date that should be here somewhere. The invoice number and so on.
Okay.
Doesn't it take? If you look at the bottom again, can you scroll to the bottom?
Yep. There it is.
Yeah, but the vendor address, it doesn't take that out, does it?
No, it's not in the free trial.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's why.
That
Yeah,
is
so
why.
if it says null, basically it means that it has something, but we just haven't included it.
Yep.
It depends. For example, shipping date might not be present. Okay, so the null
PO numbers.
is only to mention that that field is present on the data schema, but is not active. Okay.
Right. Okay. So it can mean both that it is there, but we haven't processed because of the payment plan, and it can also mean that it's not there.
Exactly. This is not really the case for most data schemas because the invoice itself has several layers of data. But for example, an ID card is much simpler than what you are seeing here. It's a much more compact data schema. Okay.
Right. How do we know what's included and what's not included?
You may ask. As simple as that. So so these data schemas are not fixed. So they will be configure according to your requirements. So if you need any extra field from, I don't know, a loan contract, you ask and it will be added. Okay.
So basically, the more fields, the more I pay for the solution.
Exactly, because it's also a proxy for your current costing. So if you have 200 pages invoice where you need to get every single line item, probably that invoice itself will cost you, I don't know, 100 euros to process, for example. Okay.
Yep.
So that is why I said that our pricing is based on the optimization of the current costing of the customer. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say Alvino, I would say that since we are very much on
Close
time,
again,
I would like to add some two extra slides just to wrap up. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so to wrap up, what we are achieving here is to provide an API capable of processing any type of human readable content with no setup training and with this accuracy firewall that will be used to avoid streamlining errors to your robots or to your process, with the human in the loop supervised by AI, which means that our humans will be much more efficient and much more scalable and elastic than the humans that the customers have on their side. And this is a solution that is ready by default for digital inbounds. So we are not talking about scanned documents. We are talking about images, emails that are long tail in nature, and of course with a domain agnostic approach.